Hey folks, we're back again. How you doing? Listen, out of the 15 years I've been tutoring, what we're about to cover is probably one of the most, partially, one of the most difficult concepts to master in math. What are we talking about here? Positive and negative integers. Oh gosh. Positive and negative numbers, integers, interchangeable word. Look, folks, it's tough to understand when you're adding a positive with negative, negative with a positive, and all these other things. Oh my gosh, the brain's gonna go trying to get it all down, especially when you got more than one in a sentence or in an expression and you have to solve for it. So hopefully with this little nugget I'm about to show you, this little thing is going to clarify all that for you. And it's very simple rules. If you follow these two simple rules, maybe three, but two mostly simple rules, you'll be able to get positive and negative numbers easy every single time. Have a watch. There are two main things to think about when you're adding positive and negative integers, or numbers in this case. All right, the two main things to think about are the bigger number rule and the same sum, different difference rule. Let's start with the bigger number rule. The bigger number rule is simply to get the sign part of your answer right, the sign. You know that positive and negative numbers have a sign in front of them, whether they be positive sign or negative sign. So this part right here will make sure you get the sign right for the answer. The second part is making sure you get the number part of the answer right. Sorry for my handwriting here. The number part of the answer right, as in, is it positive negative 2, positive negative 3, positive negative 4, 5, 6, 7, a million. You get the number part right. So again, the first part is to get the sign right, the bigger number part. And then the second part is same sum, different difference, the number part. Let's explain the bigger number part. Say you got negative 7 plus 4. How do we get this right? The first thing you're going to do is look at the sign of the bigger number. Now, of course, 4 is bigger than negative 7, but we're looking for the absolute value. The absolute value simply means the bigger value of the numbers. And as you can see here, 7 has a bigger absolute value than 4 does. So the sign of the answer is going to be negative no matter what we do, because the bigger number, absolute value, is negative 7. 7 is bigger than 4. So it's going to take on the same sign as the 7. All right. Now, same sum, different difference, the number part right here. That simply means, are they the same sign or different signs? The 7 is negative. The 4, because it has a plus sign in front of it, is positive. Okay? So they're different signs. What you're going to do? Different means to subtract. We subtract that are different. So 7 and 4, the difference between those two are 3. There you go. That is the correct answer. Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. Simply because the negative is there because the 7 is bigger than the 4 and the 7 is negative, so it takes the sign of the bigger number. And we subtract the 7 and the 4 to make a 3 because they're different signs. Well, wait a minute. What if they're the same sign, like same sum? Okay, watch this. Negative 5 minus, or negative 3. Okay, in this case, the 5 is a negative and the 3 is also negative. Same sign. They're the same sign. So what do? We add the numbers. 8. But wait a minute, let's go back to the bigger number rule. Well, the sign of the bigger number, which is 5 is the absolute value, it's bigger than 3. 5 is negative, so the answer is going to be negative. The answer is negative 8. One more time. Find the sign of the answer by looking at the bigger of the two numbers. Get the number part of the answer right simply by seeing if the signs are different or the same between the two numbers that you're adding. You do this, you're going to get it right. Let's try another one. Let's do 10 minus 3. Well, in this case, the bigger number is 10, and it's positive. No sign means it's positive. See, there's no sign up there. So we know the answer is going to be positive, so we don't put a sign. And the signs are different. 10 and a negative 3. Negative 3 is sitting here. 10 is there. So since the 3 is negative and it's a different sign than the 10, what does that mean? We subtract. Different difference. Subtract. So it's 10 and 3. The difference between those two are 7. And again, we already said that the 7 is positive because the 10 is bigger and it's positive. Correct answer. Let's get some more practice in. Please pause this and try to answer these yourself based on the previous information. And then the answers will come up as I go along at this time. Ready? All right, here we go. Now remember, pause it first and try to answer them yourself. All right, here I am about to answer these. Negative 4 plus 6. Negative 4 plus 6. Remember, the bigger number of these two is 6. So that's rule number 1. Bigger number or absolute value is 6. It's bigger than 4. So the answer is going to be positive. We don't need to put a sign. Now, they're different signs. Negative 4, positive 6. Right here, see negative 4. Oops, sorry. We have negative 4 and positive 6. Remember, the sign goes with the number. So we know that we're going to subtract because they're different signs. One's negative and one's positive. And the subtraction of 4 and 6 is 2. And again, no sign in front because 6 is bigger and it's positive. Here we go. Let's move down. Up. We already can see the 5 is bigger than 2 and the 5 is negative. There's a negative sign in front of it. So the answer is going to be negative. But they're the same sign. The 2 is negative and the 5 is negative. They both have negative signs in front. See? Negative, negative. Therefore, you're going to add. Same means sum. Add them. 7. Negative 7. There it is. And last but not least, we have a 5 and a 3. They're both positive. No sign means positive. We know this. They're both positive, so therefore, they're again the same. We're going to sum, add them. And the bigger number is positive, the 5. So it's positive, and we add them, positive 8. Done. If you just follow those two rules, bigger number, same sum, and different difference, you can get these right every single time without a problem. Thank you, and take care.